Well, it's Steve Hartz89. Well, I didn't plan to talk about this, and I didn't plan to watch Jesse Gender's video about this, all 2 hours and 18 minutes of it. But I started it just to get a bit of a gist of what it was, and I listened to some of it, and then I passed out for a couple of hours, and then I still had half an hour left, so I watched the rest of it, and it's really shocking, this film, how bad it is, apparently. I had heard a little bit about it and some controversy, and it was interesting, but it really wasn't until she spelled it all out that I realised just how damaging this thing is. Now, this film, Emilia Perez, has gotten 13 Oscar nominations, and there's a huge Netflix campaign behind it, and it's all about money, it's all about politics, and it's not about being a good film or being a positive representation of trans people. It is only doing this well, according to Jesse Gender, which I agree with and believe, that it doesn't challenge any of the very negative perceptions of trans people, and it's not challenging anyone or threatening anyone. That's why it's sort of being embraced, because it just is just one transphobic cliche after another just ran out in front of everyone. It's just awful. The only thing they get right is they do cast a trans woman to play the main character, and they put her in masculine makeup in the start before she transitions, rather than getting a man and trying to feminize them by the end of the film, which is what they usually do. The better approach out of those two options is to get a woman to play a trans woman. Basically, a trans character should be played by the true gender of them. If they're a trans woman, then you have a woman play that person. If they're a trans man, you have a man play, unless you have an actual trans person. You don't have the opposite sex, because that's just reinforcing the idea that underneath it all, that's what they are, that there is no change. And that's one of the most offensive things about this story, is it has this female trans person regress to their destructive, violent male traits, which is like saying that that's who they truly are, which is very damaging and very offensive. And this character is just, the whole film is pretty much through everyone else's perspective but theirs. She never really has her own sight. We never really see through her eyes. It's always other people, how they're observing her, which is an issue with trans people, where they just seem to be being something to be viewed and observed and pitied or judged or whatever by other people. You never really see their point of view and their perspective. And that's what Zoe Saldana's character is for. Don't know what her eyebrows are for, but her character is for telling this person's story. And it's... Okay, the story is there's a very violent, horrible Mexican man who is stereotypically running a bunch of cartels and killing thousands of people. He wants to get out of it. He's already started transitioning. He's got breasts which are showed to be shocking and revealing when he shows her that he has them. And this is the real actress in male makeup doing that part, talking in the deep voice and everything. And then there's this presentation of transition as this big, let's just roll out all the surgical options and just it's just all thrown at her like it's all just a big candy store of transitional operations, and he gets them all at once and then recovers in like a week, which is nothing like reality. It's just reinforcing all these stereotypes and bizarre assumptions that we have apparently of trans people. If you're not trans people and you don't know, I don't know a lot about trans people, honestly, but I know I don't know anything about them, so I'm not sitting there telling them who they are, like this film seems to be doing. So she transitions and then she escapes her life, and it treats transition as not getting back to the true self of the person, but as some sort of fake out, some sort of act, some escape, something to use. And then she comes back into her family's life as a cousin, and she even starts dating her ex-wife, who then she ends up abusing in the same way that she abused her when she was a he. And they do dead name her, and like literally there's almost a sexual assault, which you can tell is mirroring how this character assaulted her in the past, and she freezes and with post-traumatic stress reaction to being assaulted again in the exact same physical manner. But yet this woman is still depicted as so stupid as not to know that it's him having transitioned to her. So, and I've probably screwed up a bunch of times in this video already, but I'm trying. And then, of course, this person, even though she creates like a charity to help all the people that she hurt when she was a cartel leader, she ends up reverting totally to type. And when the wife finally does realize who she is, and they keep her kids from her and all this stuff, she comes after them like she's like this mafia boss again, and she's going to kill them and just going crazy. And she talks in her man voice, and she regresses, and it basically says that this character, that's who they always were and always will be, and it basically denies who she really is and transition. It's just a really ugly thing. And then on top of it, I mean, it's a film that depicts Mexico and Mexicans, which apparently is inaccurate as well, and the Mexican people are not happy. It's a French man who wrote this based on a character in a chapter of a short story, a tiny little chapter or short story or something. He loved that character, but he changed parts of it so he'd get away with using that character as a trans character. And just then the actress comes out, and she has made a bunch of statements and comments in the past which have been brought up because she didn't erase any of them when she became famous. She got the Oscar nomination. And they're incredibly racist and offensive, and then she comes out and doesn't apologise and just does the whole, oh, I'm sorry if you were offended by this, and then plays the victim of, oh, they're all attacking me because I'm trans. You know, they're attacking you because you said incredibly offensive things and you haven't taken responsibility for them or apologised for them. Just like the character never has to deal with what they did really on any real term. It's just a train wreck of transphobic tropes, and it's just awful, as described by Jessie Gender in detail. And I believe that she's done an accurate analysis of this thing. Because as much as I hate her take on Star Trek, she knows trans and trans issues. She's been my tutor for all I know about trans issues. But yeah, it's just awful. And the Oscar campaign, they've actually like pulled her out of it, and they're still pushing the film and Zoe Saldana. And they've just tossed her away, which of course they never would have done if it was a straight male who said a bunch of homophobic or sexist things. He'd still be in the running and being praised like people like Mel Gibson, who never really got cancelled for all the misogynistic, abusive, violent, anti-Semitic things he said. He's still there, but it erased her immediately because they have no actual respect or love for her. And being trans, but as a person she's garbage, but as a trans person she deserves respect on that level, and they didn't even have that. And again, she was thrown out when other straight cis performers would be fine. So that just shows the racism, the sexism, the transphobia, the double standards, all just rolled into one giant mess called Emilia Perez. And it's a musical. It sounds as bad as it seems. There was a little meme made out of an actual section of one of the songs. I thought it was a joke. I thought it was a parody. It's the actual performance, and it's just, the whole thing is awful. It just is it's just horrible from what I've seen. And yeah, they're giving transphobes everything they need, and on every level, from the fictional misrepresentation to the garbage real-life actress, who isn't even that good an actress either from the performance. And probably the worst scene, which could have been the best scene, which is about her being back with her child, and the child works out who she is because she still smells like his father, which is not possible. The first thing that changes when you're a trans person, you start the hormones, is your scent changes. And you have a different lifestyle, so you don't do and use the same things you did, so there's no way you would smell the same. And they've tried to make this wonderful sentimental little moment, and it just shows how ignorant they are and how little they actually know about transitioning, and apparently they didn't consult anyone in the trans community about this, and a lot of the people in the trans community have spoken out against this, and they've just ignored them and silenced them and tried to block them and strike them as they tried to strike Jessie Gender, to silence them because they're hurting their Oscar campaign, which is all about money and politics and prestige, and not actually about the people it's exploiting. It's just shocking and disgusting on every level. And I had to talk about it because even if I'm a small channel, I just want to be part of the discussion. And when you do a search about this issue, I'm just filling out to say, wow, how many people are talking about this? I'm just fine to fill out the search. But yeah, I think everyone should be saying something about this, because in the age that we're at, with the misrepresentation and the victimization of the trans community, have something like this come out and be taken this way and treated this way is just, it's really bad. But I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of Emilia Perez and the controversy surrounding it.